Joining me now, couldn't think of a more timely guest for this, Colin Angle, who is the co-founder and CEO of iRobot. Great to have you here with us today. First and foremost, we got to know more about the Roomba J7 Plus and the new tech that's driving the product.
You know, as people depend more and more on robots to clean their floors, we're really seeing that we have to make them more intelligent to work in the very complicated and busy household that we all live in these days. And nobody wants to clean up before the robot cleans. That's kind of defeating the purpose. And so the J7 Plus is a huge leap forward with its Genius 3 intelligence system in recognizing the floor, recognizing obstacles on the floor, and making sure that, you know, if you left a charging cable down on the floor and left for lunch or where to go out for a walk, that the robot can see that object, move around it, and not get tied up and not damage your charging cable. And of course, the probably the most newsworthy new capability is the robot's ability to actually see pet waste and say, no, that's a really bad thing. I'm not going over there. We're going to avoid that. So the intelligence of your robots just took a big step forward.
That was certainly one of the more viral pain points that customers had expressed. So it's great to know that that has been infused as a response to the customer response, I should say, and infused into this new operating measures for the artificial intelligence capabilities for the new version of the Roomba. And so for the J7 Plus, you know, when you thought about what needed to go into this, how has remote working and COVID-19 related lockdowns changed the way that customers view cleanliness? Because you're clearly listening and trying to garner the pulse of the customer right now.
Well, thank you. And absolutely, you know, COVID and the pandemic has really changed the role the home plays in people's lives. Prior to the pandemic, increasingly companies were seeing their employees spend more and more time at work, and now people are spending more and more time at home, and in fact designing into their home workspaces. And we are certainly not going to go back to the world pre-pandemic. We're seeing people wanting to live in a hybrid world where work can happen in multiple places. That just creates more burden on the home. It gets dirtier faster. It's a busier place. We've seen the number one reason why robots fail to complete their whole mission is because the robot went out and someone turned it off. So the robot needs to be more thoughtful, more intelligent, more capable of operating in chaotic environments in order to just get the job done and get back to its charging station without being shut down. And so it's an exciting time, and robots need to get smarter.
You know, it's amazing because I think we've had this acceleration in conversations about what robots are, the functionality, how they play a role in perhaps a day-to-day life. And it's very easy to forget sometimes that you do have this robot that is roaming around the house in a Roomba, because it's got this artificial intelligence now baked into it as well. And also with that comes the role of data privacy. And so where do you infuse that into the broader smart home industry, as you play a very critical role through the robot that iRobot offers that many consumers have gravitated towards in the Roomba?
Right, and in order for the robot to do something like know what you mean when you say clean around the kitchen table, we need to know where the kitchen is, where the table is. This is all information. So as a company, we have leaned way forward. We have committed, we will never sell your data. We encrypt the data the robot captures on the robot, never send it in the clear. And we only store things that are the most boring of things. And so that if all of our safeguards fail and you actually were able to break in, you would discover that, okay, there's a rectangular shaped thing called a kitchen, and a rectangular shaped thing inside that kitchen called a table. And so what we store is trying to just be inherently boring and non-useful. And so defend in depth is our motto and our strategy, and make sure that everything that we store is in service of making the robot work better for the customer. So we take it incredibly seriously. We want to make sure that we deserve people's trust in allowing our robots in their homes.
We've seen an accelerating amount of conversation around AI humanoid type of robots, whether that be from Tesla, whether that be from Boston Dynamics. Is that a future that you see with iRobot?
You know, I think that you have to ask yourself, why is the robot designed the way it's designed, and to what end? And iRobot has really pioneered the practical robot industry by really focusing on, well, what's the problem and what is the solution? And so unless you're making robots to present at Disneyland, there's no necessary reason why it needs to look like a human. Roomba is round and low to the ground because it's trying to get into places that are hard to get to, like under the couch. And so that the idea of, hey, let's build a humanoid robot and have it push a traditional upright vacuum cleaner like on the Jetsons, isn't necessarily a very practical strategy. So I think that as long as we remember that people actually have to be able to afford to buy these robots, and that the design of the robot really needs to be married with the purpose, we'll see the industry move forward. If we just think we're building science fiction, it's going to take longer.